I asked them for this presentation and then they said it's not, they're not sure it's here. Moima. Senior fellow, good to have you in class, Mercy. I'm still with you, I'm sure. God will deliver me. All right, let's talk this morning about literature review. I actually have a different presentation I was going to make that is shorter. But I think I'll go with the longer one I have before, which I had called The Science of Literature Review. I wanted to do something more shorter this morning because this is within and stepping out the realm of just literature review for the purpose of writing, for the purpose of the end point of this project. The end point of this project is you're able to do a review, you're able to publish. If you want to be talking about all other details, then talk to Pilarun Popola, who will tell you about the literature review and other things. But since I have this on slide, I think I'll just use it. Can I have it? Can I have a... So I said to the program officer, I'll bring out my file, and he said he couldn't find. He said, and now they said he said what the topic is overview of literature review, but what you have here is science of literature review. I probably ask yourself the same question, and I'm not blaming him. I hold myself responsible for the confusion, because when you read the word science, it's about logic. And believe me, what people do in literature review is totally things that are not grounded in science. But there's a science to literature review. And that was why when I did this earlier, I decided I'm going to talk around the science of literature review. Is this connecting? Femi reminds me, tomorrow evening, let's go out for, let's take you out tomorrow evening. I hope you're in town. Nobody says he's living in Akure. This training is taking place in Ondo, and everybody must be in Ondo in the evening time. Some people know who I'm talking about. They know themselves. I didn't care. I'm not talking about you. What's the problem? Should I go on without chill? You're not supposed to be checking back when I'm in class. If you are going to war, it's not in the middle of the war. You check if your gun is good. All right, let's go on. They will meet us. I only hope I can finish in one night. There are three things I want to talk about. When we talk about literature review, what exactly are we talking about? What are the approaches to the review? And finally, how do we write the review? So let's start with this. I said to you last week that when somebody is working with me as a research student, as supervisee, my project, like when you are talking around, I'm doing part 2, I'm doing master, I'm doing PhD, I always insist that you must have read the literature before you do any other thing. And I said that without reading literature, nothing else makes sense. Nothing else. So let's think about what is literature review. It's something that happens with a perspective of gaining an understanding of what exists, and to be able to extract from it the essentials that you need that connect your project, that will enable you to then move on to do a result-oriented approach, a result-oriented study. That's my definition. Of course, I've quoted the definition here, but that's the simplest definition I can talk about. But let's read this definition. Let's go. Can you call Dayo Sholanke to provide tea? I think people need to wake up. Why coffee or something? Can you read this like people have had coffee this morning? It's also good. If you just come to us, let's read this together.
Area of research on theory and providing description, summary, and critical evaluation of these works in relation to research.
You know, many people take literature review to mean just literature survey, because the word review says I am interrogating it to draw out what I need. All right. There are different kind of review. I got this. I think you are the one that sent this to me before. Yeah. I should have put his name somewhere there, but it was not the one that produced it, so it's not. The point I want to make with all this, and you know, remember my earlier sentence. We want to talk about this kind of systematic review. Go and talk to him, not me. But there's a reason why I want to show this, because many times when we talk about review, we want to take it as generic, but and that's why I like to talk about science of it, because there are several dimensions of review in our time. And one of the best things you can do actually when you are doing a survey, when you're doing your work, is to look for systematic review that have been published on that area. Because it's a collection of thoughts, ideas, methods, results, just put together in one place. So when I'm doing work, the first thing I want to look for are what are the systematic reviews that have taken place, so that I can in one place get it. And this whole thing, I don't mean that you read it. That's the point, because you can't read it. But the point I want to make here is this: look, there are several ways to think about it, and that each of them has demands, both in terms of technicals and in terms of time. For example, if you can read this, for those who have their glasses, it says, let me read it for you. It said, do you want to gather the evidence on a particular topic? If it's yes, do you have 3 more people working on it? If it's yes, do you have 1 year to 1.5 years to complete the review? If it's yes, then do you have a broad topic or multiple research questions? If it's yes, then you have to do a scoping review. So when my students in IFE, they are publishing a journal, and they wrote me, they said they want to do a review. I said, what kind of review? They said they want to do a scoping review. I said, when are you publishing your journal? They just put in more time. I said, yeah. So I sent them this. I said, take a look at this and come to a fresh new conclusion. But if all you want to do, just want to look, you don't need to gather all the evidence available. You just want to pick a couple of, just provide a quick survey, quick overview. Then what I do is the narrative review, which is what ultimately we do, and we call a review. So there are several types of review, and therefore there are rapid review, there are scoping, there are umbrella, and we need to understand all that dimension as young researchers, so that when you are talking about review, it's clear in your mind what you are trying to do, and it's clear to those you are communicating with the kind of review you have in mind. Oh, it goes on, meta-analysis, all that. But to get this, I think I should put the email address there so I can go online and search this. And there's not anybody is teaching in this class, by the way. That's not available online. I said one of the greatest things about being a scholar in this generation is that so much information is at your tip. All you need to do is be able to stretch yourself to get it. All right, so if you think about what this is in terms of your research work, that you can think about this as an academic write-up that summarizes and critically, I'm waiting for you to complete the word. Critically what? Critically analyzes and evaluates previous research work on the subject, and then presenting this in an organized way. Of course, you are doing research informed by research questions, and therefore the literary review is not in void, but in context of what your own research agenda, research questions are all about. What it is not, can we start from you? Yeah, what is number one?
A descriptive list of summaries of books or articles.
If there's something I have sent to people more than any other thing, you know, I review part 2 work, all this, is this one slide that I've sent to people a lot. When I see the first time I see this, this person is trying to describe But sometimes I see people write, Shadi said, the Jonathan said, Joella said. I'm like, no, this is not a literary review. So literary review is not a descriptive list of material or even ideas that you gathered. Number 2.
An exhaustive bibliography on everything ever written on the topic you need on the topic you need to.
You must not come to this class without your glasses. I'm going to call. Once you finish, I'm going to call your husband. If you don't have money, let him take it to an ophthalmology.
I have a glasses, but change the lens and I'm not able to do.
It's the same thing we're talking about. Let me tell you a story of the first exam. Shola is in class. I should be careful about the story I tell this morning. The first exam I did in Ife at a PhD level was in social sciences. I was a young lecturer, and I've called Professor Orubuloye, a famous guy in the field of HIV, past master of Ekiti State University, to be the examiner. Incidentally, we worked together on the National AIDS Survey. He led the first volume. I was leading the second one. So he said, oh, Chef Project is not in effect. Just call him. I'm not available. So I came and I took the work. He sent the work to me. I won't tell you what department. It's not in his department, by the way. And I got this book. Don't mind me. It's as big as this. HIV, Kineko. And I opened it. I thought I was reading a textbook. HIV, immunology, HIV, microbiology, HIV. So I told myself, there's no way this person will pass this exam. In fact, I cancelled like 2/3 of the page. I just like, I was so angry. I just was scared. When I didn't go to the exam, the external examiner came in. I was first one that came. The supervisor is somebody I know, very senior professor. But when the external examiner came in, he first of all prostrated to the supervisor. I knew the exam had finished at that level. And that whatever I'm coming to do here is just a joke. But so when we sat down, and he said we should start. I was the internal, external. He's the external. So I started by asking the person, somebody in social science, please tell me the immunology of HIV. I said, that's not my field. I don't know. Okay. Please tell me the drug treatment. I'm sure you must have been thinking this one was the wicked. It just want me to fail. So I kept on asking science questions, never anything social sciences. So at the time, he was very frustrated. So I said, sir, why do you think I'm asking you these questions? I said, I'm taking this question from the book you submitted. Because sometimes the idea is, let me write everything I can find. No. If so, every time you are fine. Sometimes I fight with examiners when I submit my students go for part 2, and I tell them no, focus on your attention. Don't. And sometimes I'm like, no, that's what I insisted on. Because it's not to write about everything, but it's directed by the research agenda we have now. That doesn't mean you cannot include some general backgrounds, but it is a focused writing driven by research objectives. All right, what's the problem?
It's sleeping hibernating quickly.
Oh, why don't you just go to your setting and change the hibernation? Leave it. So that way I won't tell many more stories. And once it's hibernating, tell me I'm telling too much stories. Like I quickly tell me. All right, so, oh my God. Hey, Azan, when I finish my work, can you come back? Let me just finish. I have so much to do today. As I'm here, my head is in like 4 places. It's not PDF. Is it PDF that thing?
Yes.
Okay. I'll give you I'll look for the. Okay. All right. Put it back on Oh, was it on PDF? I'm surprised. That's strange. What is not? It is not an FA. It's very newspaper stuff. One of the newspapers I like to read is Guardian. And the reason why I like to read this is those who write at the back page. Danagbese, Reepu, and they make very nice reading. But that's not literature review. It's their opinion and their argument about what is wrong and right in Nigeria and how it can be wrong and right more. You know? So that's not what it is. So we have talked about what it is. We have said it gives you are surveying what's available. You are critically reviewing and evaluating what are available, and you are organizing those information available, structured, directed, led by your research agenda. So what's the purpose of the review? Can we read together? Number one.
Gives readers access to research on the particular topic by selecting a high quality articles that are relevant, meaningful, important, and valid, and summarizing them in one form.
So it's not about selecting any article. That's the other thing I find when people write literature review. All the jabajantis they can find, meaningful and meaningless. Let me tell you another true story. I think I should start writing a book on these stories. True story. I heard a part 2 person I was sent to evaluate a book, and this person wrote. He said that young people he said that adolescents had been shown to have less reasoning capacity than children. So it was adolescents 10 to 19, there were children 5 to 6. And like, this is a doctor going to be a specialist, and a put reference. And believe me, I'm not sure you, but believe me, when people send me books to read for exam, I read the references. I look at the references and I go and download them. I don't read all of them, but because every time I read the book, I want to learn something. Here is the book, they give me this book and they give me 25,000. So that's how I read the book. No, because give me an opportunity to learn. That's for me the most exciting about it. I went to check the references, and they were talking about adolescents with some dimensions of mental health problems, particular category. And I said that even they didn't say so, is it not common sense? But because people are like, they don't even read the work, they look at the abstracts, they just take one sentence, take one sentence, throw it there, and then they put reference. If you have not read the work, you should not quote it. It is academic fraud. Can I repeat that? If you have not read the work and you are quoting it, you are committing academic fraud. So when I go to exam, I like going for exam. You know why? Because it's like fun. I just go for fun. So I see somebody, the first one page of the book or two, he has like 40 references. I'm like, So when I go to the exam, I just give the book. I say, reference 1 says, Ajabe Etol talk about. Please tell me about that. I just pick like 10 references. And believe me, before I pick those 10, I will have read those 10. That's why I come to the exam, printing those 10. Because it just, by the way, most of my people I exam will pass. That's how this one they pass. Because I always think that exam is part of learning. But just to demonstrate that certain things are totally unacceptable at certain levels. If you cannot open literature review, the first 5 pages, you have 130 references. Clearly, it's not possible. It means even if you have read all of them, it means you don't understand how to use literature. So it's not just about selecting anything. It's about selecting high quality articles. Now I think I have to. What's her name? Now, you better come and stand by this thing. So I won't insist about anything. All right. Any questions so far? None. It's not everything you have read that you are presenting. What you are presenting is a summary of what you've read and organized in a way that speaks to your issues. Just think that forever. No, just say it doesn't change forever. All right. So, do you understand? Where is the one that I'm talking about? Yeah, the idea is that what we have is a summary of, it's a report, because you are writing. When I say report, I mean, if, for example, you are going to publish your work, your PhD work or master, you have a section called literature review. That's what I mean by a report. But of course, it could be a report that is a publication, because you could publish narrative review, you should publish systematic review, you could publish any of those things. And if you are actually doing a PhD, you should think of publishing a systematic review first. Before going, in fact, you think of publishing a protocol before going on. That's too quick way of just getting publication, even though they will not give more than 2 or 5 for you, but it's okay. It's still part of literature. And it can give you some interesting feedbacks about what you're trying to do.
You can publish your protocol?
Sure. You will start protocol. Oh, every time. Yeah. In fact, in my computer, until the last couple of years when I started this admin, I have a folder for just research protocols. When I want to write research agenda, I go and read people's protocol that they have written, I have published. In other words, somebody I reviewed and think it makes sense. So why would I go and read it and pick an idea from it? You can publish your protocol, and people publish protocols.
Just like a research agenda.
Yeah, your research like your research. What's that thing you submit to your paper? Concept note. It's published. Yeah. But it's not when you're going to write one thing that anybody publishes. Or when you want to do a work. If I'm talking about a work that has some solid contribution to science. You were at Safe conference. You saw Jonathan Berak making when you only made the presentation. If you go and check, before Jonathan Berak did that work, you will find that protocol on that work published. Because the work was going to use methodology that has not been used, and they wanted to get feedback, they wanted to get bashing from other authors around the world who are subject specialists. And once they survived that was when the end said, wow, we think we are on a solid ground, we can go on. So you can do that. All right, number 2. Where did you stop? All of
The first one.
Yeah, I know. Who read last? All of us. Oh, you did? Okay.
Okay, so it describes the relationship of each work to the others and place each work in the context of its contribution to understanding the research problem being studied.
You know, one of the I think I've told you this story before. I'm not sure. Maybe it's this. I've told this story in the last one weekend or something. I think it was this class. When I was in the University of Washington, and my lecturer gave us materials to read. And then he came to class. And he said, can I have the marker? And he said, you've read the work of, let's call them A, B, C, D author. And he said, let's talk about 2 issues. Let's talk about intensity of intervention. Let's talk about broad dimensions. And said, Mr. A, if you plot it this way, Mr. A's work is here. Please locate the work of other people relative to Mr. A's work. In other words, you must have read Mr. A and know what he says. You know what Mr. B said, and you know where it lies related to this work. Is it overlapping? Is it different? Is he offering a different perspective? Is he aligning? You know, if I set exam this day, that's where I set exam. Femi Obile said to me when we were in Lagos, he said, you have always said, if you are chief examiner, you have calculate. That's why you have never become a chief examiner. You know, because that's how to catch them when you give anything to read. You just pick one person's work and say, oh, that's true. And that's what happened in literature. Because when you read my perspective, you need to know, is there aligning with other perspective out there in the field? Is it different? How is it different? Why is it different? So it's not just about reading the work. It's also understand that as I'm reading the work, I am getting into a world of authors in the same space. And I was able to see how they relate, how they differ, and why they do. Number 3. Sometimes people ask me, must you criticize, must you assess? Yeah, you might. But you know, in academia, it's constructive. When I write work, you know, when you are not reviewing work and you're not talking about the methodological issues, you're not truly doing a robust review. Because when a man has published a work and he has studied 13 people and he published in Ondo Journal of Social Sciences, I'm not talking about he has new sociology, qualitative paper. He just submitted 13 people. I was talking about the type of headache, the kind of gele that people wear to party. You know, you can publish anything, you know that. You can publish the number of shoes that people, color of shoes that just have enough money to publish somewhere. But and that one publishes that, and you want to quote it. Let's say, for example, for any reasons of interest, you must be able to let us know that this man studied only 13 people. And this I call it. Otherwise, the weight we put on his work will be unduly more than what his work should contribute. So that's why you must do some criticism, constructive though, because that's what we do in academia. All right. The other thing, you identify new ways to interpret prior research, identify area of prior scholarship, so that you are not just duplicating effort. When you finish your work, and in your not conclusion now, in your discussion, it's like our findings say A is greater than B, in line with all that happened in literature. And our findings say C is less than D, and all that. What is your own contribution? If all you are going to do is agree with everybody in this one, then your paper and your work is useless. Has nothing to add to literature. And that's why you must understand what people have done. So you can understand where the gaps are that you can step into and create a niche for yourself. What else is the purpose of literature? It helps us to identify inconsistencies, conflicts that are existing in the context of what we are doing, and to be able to make sense of them. Why and why not? If somebody had used, if 3 people have studied a phenomenon and they have used different methods, the reason why they are different might simply be the methodological approach. In one of the papers one of my last papers I published, probably that was like when now, last year or year before, on something around abortion. We're doing around abortion estimate in Congo, DRC, and we're looking at, and because there are no adolescent specific abortion records nationally, there are very few studies that have done that, and we saw 2 studies that have talked about abortion rate in DRC, and the figures are not agreeing. The first is to say, who did they talk to? How did they collect it? Once they use different methods, the likelihood that they will arrive at the same thing might be low. Sometimes it might be. And so when you see those controversies, because you've read the work and you've paid attention to the technical details,